I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into Monday Night Raw from August the 3rd, 2026. This was a pretty okay episode of Monday Night Raw. I actually enjoyed this. We got quite a few returns, big returns. So I did like that. They are teasing something between Bron Breakker and Oba Femi, which I am definitely down for that. Sign me up for that. I'd love to see those guys feud for a good 3 to 4 months. That would be great. So I very much enjoyed that. Roman Reigns was on this show, which was good. So it seems like they're teasing something between him and LA Knight again, which is fine. I was shocked that Seth Rollins was not on this show because it was in Iowa. So I'm shocked that he wasn't there. I'm not sure how far Des Moines is from Davenport. Probably no more than about 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe 25 minutes at best. But I was shocked that Seth Rollins didn't show up on this show because he would have got a massive, massive reaction. And I thought he was going to show up during the main event between Fatu and Royce Keys in a street fight, which that was actually pretty good, especially what they did post-match. I thought that was really, really good. So Triple H actually did try on this show, and he's looking to do new things. So I actually do like that, and I can't hate on that. I really can't. Was this a bad show? No. Was this a good show? No. It was just okay to all right. You could even say decent if you want, but I'd rather just use pretty okay. All right. So we kicked the show off with Roman Reigns, who was on this show, which is great. So Roman Reigns came out, got a good reaction. He put over his match with Seth Rollins. And he said that him and Rollins may have found some peace. So Roman Reigns was then immediately interrupted by LA Knight, who got a massive reaction. So LA Knight congratulates Roman on his title retention. And LA Knight also congratulates him, Roman, for doing it by himself. But Roman Reigns, said Roman Reigns was still a fraud because while he had been calling him out for over the last few months, the Bloodline were sent to take him down. Roman Reigns said he only saw one fraud, the one that's wearing a Walmart watch, which is kind of funny. And then Roman talked about his watch and everything else for a brief moment. It's a pretty expensive watch, probably like $3,000 to $4,000 probably. LA Knight said there was no validity to anything Roman says. And anyone in the locker room doesn't get a title shot by bitching and moaning. Well, that's what Roman said to LA Knight. He told LA Knight to get into the back of the line. So LA Knight responds by saying Roman Reigns has been shielded by everyone, from Seth Rollins to the Bloodline and everything else. Saying that saying that he was everything Reigns was and everything that he wanted to be. Okay, this is fine. I actually do like this. I like what they're doing with both guys. So LA Knight, like I say, he kind of taunted Roman to give him a title shot. It could have been tonight, next week, at Money in the Bank, or even next year's WrestleMania, which I thought was kind of funny. So I actually do like this. So it seems like Roman Reigns is probably going to do a lot more work, and he needs to, right? He should be there at least every week. I'm not saying in a wrestling capacity, but he needs to be there in like a promo or a backstage segment or something to keep this thing hot. Because I'm a fan of LA Knight. I'm a fan of Roman. I actually like both guys. Roman is doing some of his best work. So I do like this. I really do. I like what they're doing. I know they got a pay-per-view in this, my bad, I was about to say December. I meant to say September, coming up. So maybe they do it there, maybe. I don't know. Because Money in the Bank is in 2 months. So there's no way they're waiting that long to do something between LA Knight and Roman Reigns. That makes no damn sense. All right, moving on. This leads us into the first match of... Well, actually, yeah. This leads us into the first match of the night. Jevon Evans defeats Ethan Page in a match we've already seen a few times before. Match was fine. Jevon Evans is a gem. He's fucking awesome. Love Jevon Evans. Then, Big Cass showed up and beat the shit out of Jevon Evans, taking him out and everything. So he laid waste to him and everything. I don't understand why Triple H has decided to bring back Big Cass. He didn't need to bring him back. I think Big Cass needs to be in TNA or somewhere like that. I think that would make the most sense. Same thing with Baron Corbin. I don't understand why you're bringing back guys from the past who, let's just be honest, could be released during the next batch of releases, whenever they do them, or even, after WrestleMania next year. So I don't know why he brought back Big Cass. Am I excited about this? Not really, because he's taking up a spot for another young guy. It's like, we don't need Big Cass. Big Cass would be better off in TNA. Let's just be honest. I mean, he did okay in AEW and all that stuff and everything else. He was fine in TNA when he was there like 2 or 3 years ago. I just don't understand why he didn't go back there. I don't see him doing much of anything on the main roster. I doubt if he'll even be IC champion, unless that is the plan, and that's not a good idea, because, you've already got one of your mid-card titles in the U.S. title strapped to another mid-card from the past, Baron Corbin. So, yeah. Moving on from that, Roman Reigns, he scolds the Bloodline for losing their 6-man tag involving Sol Sikoa, Royce Keys, and SummerSlam. And he told Jacob that the only family he has is the Bloodline, and it's not Royce Keys. He said he doesn't even know who Royce Keys is. He makes fun of Royce Keys' name and everything else, which is kind of hilarious. So I do like that. So good stuff. Moving on from that, this leads us into the Judgment Day. So Liv cuts a promo. She congratulates Raquel on winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Liv Morgan then said that since there's no challengers, she'll become the longest reigning women's world champion of all time. So then this leads us into Roxanne Perez versus Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca wins via DQ because Liv Morgan gets involved. Judgment Day beats up Sol Ruca, taking her out and everything else post-match. Becky Lynch shows up, gets a massive reaction, gets a massive pop. She has a little brief promo with Liv Morgan, saying that Liv Morgan's having the worst title reign of all time. Liv Morgan said that Becky Lynch is jealous because she was the greatest champion of all time. But Becky Lynch says she wasn't even the best champion that Dom's ever slept with, which is hilarious there. I like that. So, basically, Liv Morgan, she disregarded Becky Lynch's comments. Stephanie Vaquer showed up. She got a massive reaction too. And she took out all of Judgment Day. And then she had a stare down with Becky Lynch. So I like what they're doing there. Having Becky Lynch back is great. It seems like she's probably going to go after the world title, the women's world title. Same thing with Stephanie Vaquer. So it seems like they're teasing Stephanie Vaquer and Becky Lynch, which I don't hate. I'm a fan of that. Even though it's babyface versus babyface. That's not good. So someone has to either kind of be in that tweener role or go full-blown heel. But I wouldn't be shocked if Becky actually wins the match, right? But I'm fine with this. This is great. You know, I'm glad that La Primera is back. She looks sexy as fuck. I mean, damn, she looks so good. I'm glad that Stephanie's back. I really am. She's been out since before Mania, so it's good to see her back. Moving on from that, this leads us into Oba Femi. Before he came to the ring, he had a brief little stare down with Paul. He wanted to tell Paul to tell Brock thank you and everything else. And him and Paul, they shake hands and everything. So Oba comes out, gets on the mic, gets a really good reaction, as per usual. He said he's the man who has the torch. So Oba Femi vowed basically to take down the old guard, and he would take down anyone who tried to get in his way. So Bron Breakker came out, and him and Oba had a really good stare down, and I was like, oh shit, this is what we're doing. And I'm a fan of this. This is something that that should revive Bron's career, because Bron's been doing jack shit for, you might as well say, basically over a year now. He's not really done much of anything. The Vision has been a massive failure and a massive hindrance to Bron Breakker. My best bet, if I was booking and I had the pin and everything, I would immediately dissolve the Vision. Austin Theory would be doing single stuff in the mid-card with Maxine Dupree. Logan Paul, I'd move him up to a little bit in the main event scene. Same thing with Bron Breakker. Or actually, no, I would switch Logan Paul and put him on SmackDown. You know, give him a new change of scenery, right? I think that would be the best bet for him. And you could put Bron Breakker with Paul Heyman. I think that would be great. So, Braun defeated Joe Hendry with ease. This match lasted maybe like 2 minutes. Because Braun was like locked in with Oba. They even mentioned this thing on commentary. Michael Cole and Corey Graves, they mentioned this on commentary, which was hilarious. Because Braun was like in the zone with Oba Femi. I was like, damn, bro. Like, he was totally focused. He was totally locked the fuck in. So, post-match, Akira Tozawa showed up and attacked Austin Theory. Who cares? Who gives a damn? I don't care about this at all. This is dumb. Moving on. Big Cass was interviewed backstage by Jackie Redmond. So, Big Cass basically just said that he's been gone for 8 years and everything. He said taking out Jevon Evans wasn't personal. Jevon Evans was just in his way. And Jevon's not going to be the only one who's going to take out and lay waste to. Who cares? Once again, I feel that Big Cass does not need to be back in this situation. He'd be better off in TNA. That's just how I feel with this, because it makes no sense. I don't understand why Triple H continues to bring back old mid-carders from the past. It makes no sense. Baron Corbin would have been better off still in MLW and doing the Indies and Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Big Cass would have been better off kind of doing the same thing, whether he showed up in TNA or not, or in MLW or NWA. It would have been fine with me, but there's just no point of having these old guys come back. Even if Cass and Enzo were to come back together, it still wouldn't have made any sense. It's like, you got to move on from that old guard. You got to move on from that 2017, 2018, 2019 type of crowd. Type of guys now. Move on from those guys. Like, it makes zero sense. It just doesn't make any sense at all. And I don't know why they continue to bring in these old guys. It makes no damn sense. It just doesn't. It boggles my mind. Moving on from that, this leads us into Chad Gable. He gets a good reaction. He thanked the fans for their support for over the past 10 years and everything. He talked about his massive win at SummerSlam. So Penta appeared. He put over Chad Gable and congratulated on his win. The Judgment Day and Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, they showed up and they had some words. And then this led into a tag match, which I didn't watch and I didn't care. Penta and Chad Gable got the win. Who really cares? It doesn't matter. Moving on from that, this leads us into Bron Breakker. So he meets with Paul Heyman backstage. He asked where Oba Femi was. Paul Heyman said he didn't know. Bron Breakker said he thought Paul Heyman knew since Oba was Paul's new best friend. And I'm like, what the hell? This makes no sense. This is kind of weird. But it is what it is. Again, the Vision needs to disband anyway. It's a no-nothing faction. Just like Judgment Day. They've done nothing for like the Vision has done nothing for the past year. And I'm just not a fan of the faction. It fucking sucks. So, there's that. But I am excited for Bron Breakker and Oba Femi whenever we get that. And that's something that should last for a good 2 to 3 months. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into the main event of the evening. Fatu defeats Royce Keys in a street fight. This match was actually quite fun. There were tables involved. So Jacob he did a Samoan drop through a table in the corner, which was great. Royce Keys ended up hitting the spine buster. This match was brutal. It was fun. Jacob ends up getting the win via the Tongan death grip, which is great. I'm glad that he's bringing that back. This match was really, really good. This was extremely good. The crowd was into this. I mean, the Iowa crowd was pretty kind of in the middle all night. Like, there was some stuff they were excited for, and then some stuff they weren't. So, post-match, Jacob Fatu beat the shit out of Royce Keys some more. He did the hip attack in the corner several times. Adam Pearce and producers and referees came out to try to break it up, but to no avail. Then Jacob ended up putting the steel chair around the neck of Royce Keys, and he ended up doing a hip attack, taking him out. He locked in the Tongan death grip again, and Royce was bleeding from the mouth, which was great, beautifully done, coughing up blood and everything else. I enjoyed that. Then Roman comes out. He puts up the ones in the air. He gives Jacob a nod of approval and everything else, so I do like that. I thought that Seth Rollins was going to come out. I really did, because they did kind of tease that a couple weeks ago. But to no avail. It didn't happen. And I do think that's what they're building towards, is Seth Rollins and Jacob Fatu. I think that would be great. That would be something for Seth Rollins to do for a couple months. And then right before the show goes off the air, Roman goes in Gorilla, and he meets with Rey Mysterio. So Rey said that he wanted to run something by Roman Reigns, and that was it. So I actually do like that. Rey told Roman that he's, the GM for AAA, which is great. So this is interesting. Could it be where we could see Roman possibly going to AAA for a brief moment? Or maybe Roman's going to be putting the title on the line against one of the guys in Mexico or something like that. I don't know. But this is great. I actually did like this. This is very, very interesting because AAA is doing a 2-night show. So one in Vegas and the other one is going to be in Mexico. So I'm actually very intrigued by this, and this was a good way to end the show. I liked what they're doing. We got 3 massive returns. Well, 2 massive returns in Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer, which I like. So that's good there. They're teasing something between Stephanie Vaquer and Becky Lynch, which I do like. I'm fine with that. That is good. Big Cass being back is something that I really don't care about. Like, he doesn't need to be there. He's just taking up space. Again, he would be better off in TNA or MLW or NWA or something like that. I don't think that Big Cass just needs to be in this position. He's taking up a spot that another young talent could be in. So, there's that. I also like what they are doing with Bron Breakker. It seems like they're going to be teasing something between him and Oba Femi, which is great. This could definitely help out both guys, especially Bron Breakker, because he's going nowhere fast, which is wild to me, because you can have multiple young guys at the same time kind of killing it, kind of on the same show. Now, Oba has kind of hurt Bron's momentum, but you can still have two alpha males at the same time on the same show. You really can. So I like what they're doing. Raw, for the most part, was pretty good, actually. It was pretty okay. I kind of enjoyed this show. This show was pretty decent. With Becky and Stephanie being back, I can't hate on that. I'm fine with that. So that's good. I like what they're doing with Jacob Fatu, how they're building him up. I do expect for him to be feuding with Seth Rollins in due time. Again, I'm still shocked that Rollins was not on this show. I don't know why he was not on this show. It's kind of weird. His wife was, but he was not. Roman being on the show is good. Hopefully Roman's on next week's show, because they need to still continue to keep building the feud between LA Knight and Roman. Like, that's something, like, Roman can't just go away and expect for LA Knight to just build on build on it. So, there's that. And Roman did say he would take care of the LA Knight problem himself. I forgot to mention that. And then LA Knight, he talked shit to the Bloodline. So I like that too. So I like what they're doing. I like where they're going. They're teasing some big matches in the future, which I can't hate on, and I'm a fan of it. But what do you guys think of this show? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.